Hi friends, welcome back to the Enchanted Stay, where fantasy books and Stray Kids exist in chaotic harmony. Today we're diving into another Stray Kids song from a fantasy and literary perspective. And honestly, this might be one of the most devastatingly human songs Hyunjin has ever written. Because Lover isn't really about a breakup. It's about mourning a version of the future that never happened. It's about memory, regret, heartbreak, and the painful realization that sometimes love can be real and still not survive. So today we're breaking down themes, archetypes, tropes, symbolism, and literary devices. And matching Lover with fantasy stories that carry the same emotional energy. So grab your sword, your light stick, and maybe a box of tissues. Let's talk about Lover. Core theme, grieving the living. Most heartbreak songs are about losing someone. Lover is about losing someone who's still alive, and that's what makes it hurt. Lover, lover, love is gone no matter what I say. The relationship isn't ending in real time. It's already over. The narrator isn't fighting to save it. He's standing among the ruins, trying to understand what happened. Fantasy stories often treat grief as something connected to death. But some of the most painful losses happen when someone simply becomes a stranger. This falls into the lost future trope, the love that couldn't survive, or the ghost of what could have been. Because the tragedy isn't losing the person, it's losing the life you imagined together. The Rain Symbolism. The song repeatedly returns to rain. I'm running in the rain. Rain is one of literature's oldest symbols. It represents grief, cleansing, transition, emotional release. And what's fascinating is that the narrator isn't hiding from the storm. He's running through it. He wants it to wash something away, hoping it washes away my broken heart. Fantasy protagonists often undergo symbolic trials involving water, crossing rivers, walking through storms, emerging from the sea. Water represents transformation, but in Lover, the transformation hasn't happened yet. The narrator is still standing in the storm, still hoping the rain can erase what remains. The search for a reason. One of the most heartbreaking parts of the song is the constant questioning. Tell me why. Tell me how. Tell me why 어떻게 그리 쉽게 또 변했어. Tell me why. Tell me how. Why wasn't it me? These aren't questions for the other person. They're questions for himself. Fantasy stories often feature heroes searching for hidden truths, ancient prophecies, lost histories, or forgotten secrets. Lover takes that same structure and turns it inward. The mystery isn't who betrayed the kingdom. The mystery is, why did the person I loved stop loving me? And that's a question with no magical answer. No quest, no artifact, no prophecy. Only uncertainty. The tragedy of memory. One lyric stands out. Loved her, loved her, loved her so much in my rose-tinted memories. This is such an important line because memory lies, not intentionally, but inevitably. As time passes, we begin editing the past, softening the rough edges, and remembering the good moments more clearly than the bad. Fantasy literature calls this nostalgia, the tendency to transform history into myth. The narrator isn't just missing the relationship, he's missing the version of the relationship preserved in memory. And those aren't always the same thing. This becomes the golden past trope, the memory palace, or the mythologized love story. The person is gone, but the memory keeps growing more beautiful. And that's what makes letting go so difficult. The broken first step. One line completely changes how we understand the relationship. We both know honestly, things were off from the beginning. The relationship didn't fail because of one catastrophic event. It was built on a foundation that never quite fit. Fantasy tragedies often work the same way. The kingdom falls because of a flaw established long before the story began. The prophecy fails because of a choice made years earlier. Or the hero falls because of a weakness they never addressed. This is the fatal flaw, the cracked foundation, or tragedy through inevitability. The song suggests something painful. Sometimes love doesn't end because someone stops caring. Sometimes it ends because it was never sustainable. The death of the lover. The most dramatic image in the song appears in the chorus. Lover dies. Not the beloved, the lover. The person doing the loving. That's important. This song isn't describing physical death. It's describing identity death. The narrator built part of himself around this relationship. Now that relationship is gone, and he no longer knows who he is without it. Fantasy stories frequently use this kind of symbolic death. A prince loses his crown. A mage loses their power. Or a warrior loses their purpose. The old self dies so something new can eventually emerge. This is the ego death arc, the shattered self, or death before rebirth. And unlike Back to Life, this song ends before the rebirth happens. We're witnessing the collapse, not the recovery. The romantic tragedy archetype. If Back to Life was a phoenix story, Lover is a swan song. A final farewell. Fantasy is filled with romances like this. Relationships that mattered. Relationships that changed the characters forever. Relationships that couldn't survive. Not because they lacked love. Because love alone just wasn't enough. This is the star-crossed lovers. The tragic romance. The love that changes everything. And honestly, those stories stay with us because they're unfinished. Because they hurt. Final message, letting go. The final question hanging over the song is simple. Can I let you go now? Not do I still love you, not do I forgive you. Simply, can I let you go? And that's what makes Lover feel so powerful. The narrator already knows the relationship is over. The challenge isn't accepting reality. The challenge is realizing the version of reality he wanted. Fantasy stories often end with victory. Lover ends with acceptance. And sometimes that's the harder journey. Fantasy book recommendations. If Lover breaks your heart, you'll probably love these books. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. You have Love, Fate, and Inevitable Tragedy. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Longing, Distance, and Emotional Vulnerability. Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. Love Caught Between Impossible Worlds. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by W.E. Schwab. You have Memory, Loss, and Enduring Love. Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Dreamlike Romance and Bittersweet Yearning. Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa. You have Obsession, Longing, and Emotional Tension. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. A love story shaped by forces beyond the lover's control. A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. Love, Identity, and Learning to Let Go. If Lover is the song that destroys you every time you hear it, these books probably will too. Lover isn't really about heartbreak. It's about what happens after. The questions you can't answer. The memories you can't stop revisiting. The version of the future that disappears when someone leaves. And the painful process of learning that loving something doesn't always mean you get to keep it. Let me know in the comments what lyric hit you the hardest and which Stray Kids song I should deep dive next. If you love this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay chaotic, stay magical, stay.